This morning. Good morning. Hi, who do we have with us?
Hello, this is Eli Major. I'm the interpretive naturalist at Brown County State Park.
Okay, and we were just talking about the beautiful sweaters Camissa and Autumn have on. I've got actually red on today, and we are going to be talking about some of the beautiful colors and the foliage of our beautiful state of Indiana.
Great.
All right, so tell us some of the, I think this is like one of the banner year already.
Yeah, so we're right in our early fall color season. It is going really well. We've had nice, cool overnight temperatures, and it's been fairly dry, which are both great contributors to quality fall colors. Right now, up in the central part of southern Indiana, we are seeing many of the early fall species changing, redbud, tulip poplars, and a few others. And right now we're looking at this to continue over the next couple of weeks with peak fall color season being sometime the third week of October.
Oh, so tis the season. Well, you know, we've not, okay, with the rain brings a little bit of actually usually I thought brings a little bit of color. I thought that usually kind of makes the color come out a little bit stronger, but
It does, but it does, but the dryness can add a lot of contrast with how some of the leaves change.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little more nuanced than I can say in a minute or so.
Okay, and just a couple more questions on this one, because this is very interesting. So I would have thought, like if someone was to ask me, I would have thought we were getting to peak season. So when exactly do you call it, like when are we peaking? I guess if we were going to take people around for a tour of our beautiful state, when would you think we should do that?
I have been telling people around October 20th.
Okay.
So we have quite a bit of change already, but when it comes down to most of our trees, we're still probably, 3 out of 4 trees are mostly green. A lot of our later species haven't even begun yet in any noticeable way.
Okay. And what are some of the, of course, we down here, we feel like we have got the prettiest, but what are some of the other areas that, like, for those, remember when they used to do traveling Indiana, you know what I mean, and do, throughout the state, what are some of the areas that, like, wandering Indiana? What are some of the states that we should, or not states, but some of the areas that are beautiful to be wandering in?
Well, I may be biased, but of course Brown County State Park is well known for its fall colors. We have 2 lakes, 30 miles of hiking trails. We're a large park that has a suitable driving tour. But we're not the only place in Indiana to see good fall colors. I will mention a couple of other state parks that I enjoy quite a bit. One here in southern Indiana is Spring Mill State Park near Mitchell.
Yeah.
That is a great park for fall colors with a unique twist because they have that historic pioneer village. So that village is quite a thing to see any time of year, but particularly during the fall color season. If you are in southern Indiana and are up for a slightly longer trip, I would recommend Turkey Run and Shade State Parks as well. Those are up north of Terre Haute. They go along Sugar Creek up there, which is known for having these really wonderful sandstone canyons. So you get this just really interesting landscape with the fall colors, and in addition to that, Park County, is known for covered bridges, which are another great thing to pair with fall colors.
Definitely. I think also just driving through like Borden, we're very blessed in the Borden area here, just a little south of us. It's such a beautiful area too.
Borden is beautiful. I'm really surprised to hear you name drop Borden. I actually went to Borden Elementary whenever I was a kid back in the 90s.
Well, so were you a grape or a strawberry? Oh, you said no. 90s.
Yeah, Huber's and a few of the other places around. I mean, they do apples, strawberries, all sorts of stuff.
Well, Borden Elementary used to be known as the Strawberries.
No one draws strawberries.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think there's a phrase now or something.
Yeah. Because
we know it was a strawberry.
Okay, well, we're going to connect the dots here because my mom was actually a Borden berry. So
wow.
Yeah, so that was years ago, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of Borden, and Borden's a wonderful, it's not actually part of our county, but we include it in our county. We love Borden.
We just jump down the road.
Yeah, it was just up the road. Yeah, absolutely.
So we love Borden and all that and the foliage is just beautiful, and I think we hear so many people that you can take the scenic route, if you go through the Scottsburg area and come over, which is beautiful too. But we have so many people that, when they're coming to our community, they travel through the Borden area because they want to see the foliage and they want to see all that. So
yeah, that's a great point. When we think about places to see in fall colors in southern Indiana, we really are blessed that we have a lot of wooded areas and smaller farms and things like that. So an easy recommendation for anyone who wants to enjoy fall colors is when you're taking a trip, take a little bit longer. Take the county roads instead of the highway, and you can really see some pretty spectacular fall sights.
I agree. Well, and then we've got so many beautiful colors, and it's a great time to, with the children to do things like grab, just a piece of paper and go and get some different leaves and make some really cool artwork, with that. And
absolutely, yeah.
And and also if
one great activity with kids is you just get a nice leaf that still has a little bit of moisture to it, so not a perfectly dry one, but you fold it over in a blank piece of paper, and then you can use the side of a crayon to make a print of it.
Yes,
even little kids can do.
Love that. Yeah, it's an all-time favorite.
I'm a fan of using leaves as clothing for people.
What?
Oh, sure.
Like when they draw it, they use the you draw your people, but then you use the leaves for their clothes.
I thought you meant
like Adam and Eve.
Yeah, we're talking about art projects here.
Yeah, art projects.
But you can use those with some little stones and things, and it makes cute little people portraits.
Right. Well, and then of course, if you're one of the ones that like to make the scary, they're scarecrows. You can stuff them with leaves. The leaves that fall.
Yeah. I'm a fan of just raking a big pile and jumping in.
There you go.
Oh, yes. Taking
a
nap.
It's so blessed. We are, that's something, don't you feel that we really need to make sure? I think the thing that I always try to highlight, we are so blessed to live where we live because we do get to see the beautiful fall. And I know there's some states that are I feel sad for them that they don't get to experience fall and some of the seasons that we get.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Indiana is a very nice climate for deciduous trees, and the diversity of trees we have here is really what makes our fall color season special.
Right. All right. Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about today?
I would just like to invite anyone listening to get out and see the fall colors. And one thing, as a native Hoosier to other Hoosiers, I really want to say we have some pretty high-quality state parks here, and that's not a thing all Hoosiers know. So if you haven't tried out an Indiana state park before or recently, there's over almost 3 dozen of them, and many of them are right here in southern Indiana. So take a weekend, go to Clifty Falls, go to Spring Mill, go to Brown County, and you'll really enjoy that you chose to do so.
Right, and it says a lot. For Brown County State Park, Indiana's largest, ranks 3rd on the New York Travel Guide. How exciting is that, Eli?
It's very exciting. We get a lot of attention. We're really pleased with that. We're the largest state park in Indiana. We're one of the largest state parks in the whole country, even. And to think that we get this national attention for fall colors the same way places like Great Smoky Mountains or the New York upstate, people talk about Brown County's colors alongside some of those places, and that's just really awesome.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's hard to be a hero in your own hometown, so it's nice for you to kind of remind us how blessed we are and what we have, because sometimes we all get busy and we don't always stop and smell the roses, right?
Absolutely, and I understand that. It's easy to be around something pretty special all the time and not recognize it for what it is because it's normal to you.
Right.
But I got to say, I'm a native Hoosier. I've moved out of the state 3 times, and I've come back every single time, and it doesn't surprise me why anymore.
I love that. And if you go to my, I love TikTok. So if you go to my TikTok videos, you'll actually see Brown County. I've actually got the Brown County. I've got the park there in my TikTok video. Yeah. So we were.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah. It's absolutely gorgeous. It was kind of a higher up on a peak, and we're running. So it's absolutely beautiful. And so if you check out my TikTok, Eli, you'll see your park for sure up there. So I think it's awesome, and I love it. I think we are so blessed, and I think if you want to go back, even like during COVID, it made it more popular to get out and do hiking, get out and see the trees, get out and get one with nature, and what a beautiful time to do that.
Absolutely.
Just we need to remind everybody, we are under a burn ban, and just like Smokey Bear says, right?
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Only you can prevent fire.
Please
absolutely, yeah. I know Smokey. He and I have worked together before, and that sounds like him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, keep up the great work, and if we come and visit, which I hope to, you have got, and I know this is on a side note, but you've got cabins, you've got places to stay, you've got recreational, you've got horseback riding, you've got hiking, you've got a little bit of everything up there. So we really appreciate you calling us this morning, and of course going through all the shops and everything is fantastic up there in Brown County area.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time that Brown County State Park in the town of Nashville, Indiana, they're a similar vacation to Gatlinburg and Great Smoky Mountains National Park, but of course we're a lot cheaper and we're a lot closer too.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny you say that, because that was something I went with a group, and they said, it's weird. This is right here in our backyard.
Absolutely, it's really not something to be missed if you're in Southern Indiana.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've got fall break coming up soon for our kiddos in this area, so this would be a great little fall break getaway for sure. Absolutely.
Again, we've got a stable barn with horseback riding. We've got miles of hiking trails. There's the town. The nature center is open 7 days a week. We're doing guided fall color hikes and all sorts of things. We have at least one event every day.
Right. Well, keep up the great work. Thanks for checking in with us, and let's talk again, okay? And if I head up that way, I'll contact you and let you know, and maybe we can do a little video or something of you doing some walks and telling us the different leaves and trees, okay?
Absolutely. Anyone who wants to come see me at the Brown County Nature Center, you're welcome to come and visit and enjoy the park, and I'll set you where you need to go.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, Eli. Have a beautiful day, hon, okay?
Yep. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there we go. All right.
I was thinking that, too, is the issue that my family has. When you have something so wonderful with you every day, sometimes you forget how special.
So that you think they forget you because
I'm just there every day.
No,
so,
Oh, don't even get me. We know that
you take her for granted.
Hey, all three of us are mommies. We only get 1 day a year to get honored on Mother's Day, right? The rest of the days, and that might even go by.
Sometimes that goes by.
I know. Yeah, but it's true. Camissa, you didn't talk a lot, and I know you love the outdoors.
I do.
She camps a lot.
I do. Yeah. I camped at O'Bannon this year in Spring Mill. I did not make it up to Brown County, but Spring Mill, I know you mentioned that park. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Now, are you doing just pop the tent up?
Oh, no.
I didn't know.
So I guess we should have said I glamped.
Okay.
I was like, no. I'm not sleeping on the ground.
I was just trying to figure that out. I was like, how far do you go with this?
Camper is comfier than my house.
Okay. All right. No, that's the way I figured you'd be camping.
Yes.
I just wanted to define camping.
Yeah, and I have to have a fan to sleep, so I have my fan too.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So does that mean
I can't sleep in
that mean like the generator has to run? Does the generator normally run like?
No, so at Spring Mill now they have full hookup sites on some of them. We don't always stay at those, but most of the sites that you get for your camper would have electric, so you just plug your camper into it and then the camper just runs off that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
But if you do not have like an electric hookup or something, yeah, you would have to use a generator. I've never done that either.
That's fine.
I've always
Or,
had
you know,
electric
just
handy.
a battery.
I was gonna say battery power fan. Yeah, but
I
I
don't know if
could.
it'd be strong enough. I need like a
got to
good
hear
With
that
battery,
sound.
I tell you what.
Kentuckiana's choice for the best.
Kentuckiana's choice for, sponsors are right here with
Yes,
us on Coffee
let's
Club.
do that, Autumn.
Actually, we have a fan that's battery powered. Dries my laundry sometimes.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Does it work? How long does the battery last? Does it last?
Oh, no, it'll last. It'll last for a few days if you're running it nonstop. But
Well,
if
there
you're
you
running
go,
it at night,
Camissa.
it'll last. Because Justin has to have a fan. Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Teas and Tumblers, Fox Pearly Wealth Management, Fantastic Sam's, Leader One Financial, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, and Dr. Mindy Gunn
And
are our
Le-
coffee club sponsors.
And Leader One Financial is in the house today. Woo,
We
woo,
are. We
woo,
are.
woo.
NMLS 12007, we are an equal housing lender.
Yeah, what she said.
No.
Camissa's like,
Yeah.
what
What
she
she
said.
said.
What she said. All right, we're on to the 5th day of October. Today is Bring Your Bible to School Day.
There you go.
There you go.
I
love that.
always, funny story.
True story.
True story. So when I was in school, like, that was always one of the big things. We're like, oh, we're going to take our Bibles to school. It's
Yeah.
Bible school day. And I don't really know that it did anything.
Well-
Nobody really cared.
Okay, so I'm going to tell my story. So there was a guy that
So I'm
brought.
gonna tell my story. It's my
Well,
turn.
I don't know, because there was a guy that brought Bible to school,
Yeah?
every day, and somebody made a comment about why are you doing that, or or called him like I don't remember, called him a name or something, not nice. Anyway, and he said, well, if you're such a big boy and such a big talker, you carry it around.
Bibles are heavy.
Well, but I mean, I'm talking about the words that might be said to him every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? If
Right.
you-
Just hey, if you think you can handle it, you carry
Yeah,
it
you
around.
carry
see
the
what
Bible
happens.
around. Yeah.
So I am actually my Bible was heavy, and I hated carrying it around because of how heavy it was.
Yeah.
But I guess technically I have a Bible on my phone, so I guess technically I carry my Bible every day.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's good. Very
Good.
good. All right. This is also Chic Spy Day.
What's
Ooh.
that?
Listen, I'm not chic, and I would really stink at being a spy. So
I would love that.
Stink at being
I
a
am-
spy.
I don't know. I think I'd love that.
I could not be.
I
a
think
spy.
I could be a spy. I could
Oh,
be
I
very
think
stealthy.
Camissa. No, hang on.
Camissa is
Camissa's the one.
100% a detective.
Camissa is 100% the spy.
Listen,
Of this story, yes.
all I have to do is mention a name, and Camissa has 4 pages of information within 20 minutes.
She makes calls here with me.
Yeah.
Like, she'll.
Like, Camissa could be the
is
spy.
like, yeah. You should little. I love that shady shot side.
Yeah.
That's
Stealthy.
fantastic.
She
I
is very
love-
stealthy.
I love that.
Not me,
Uh,
I'm loud. You hear me coming a mile away.
Do something nice day. I love that. We should do
Yeah.
something nice every day.
Every day should be a do
Always.
something nice.
Global James Bond Day.
There you go,
James
for Chic
Bond.
Spy Day.
There you go. I love
Is
that.
that 007?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen any of them, but I'm sure
I've
he's
seen
a great
them
spy.
all.
I just remember
Oh.
playing a game that had him on there.
You've got to see, and then the Bond girls. Oh my goodness, everybody wanted to be a Bond girl.
Fact, I do not want to be a Bond
Oh.
girl. They look like they have not eaten in weeks.
And we love to eat.
All right, Latina Women's Equal Pay Day.
Love that.
National Apple Betty Day, and it looks like a big. It looks like actually like a elephant ear with ice cream and Cool Whip on it.
Apple Betty.
Apple Betty.
It has to have apple in it somewhere.
Well, maybe those are apples on top. Maybe
I'm
those-
looking.
Looks
I'm
like
looking
it.
to see.
Looks like but you know what I mean? It looks like a.
It's like an apple crisp.
Yeah.
So Apple Betty has to do with oats and cinnamon and apple.
Yeah.
So basically, it's an apple crisp day. Because, listen to this.
Ooh.
So it also kind of sometimes is called the Brown Betty, because this is a dish that was created by an African American woman of the name Betty, but because it was called Brown Betty to denote her skin color, they changed it to Apple Betty so that it would not seem racist.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
That's neat. That's a neat story.
So
I think when I hear the name Betty, remember on What About Bob, Betty, I need to talk to Dr.
I've actually don't know what you're talking about with What About Bob, because I've never seen that if it's a movie.
Camissa, have you seen it?
But
No.
I would think, I think I I would not be mad to be called the Brown Betty. I'm thinking, then
not
you
at
think
all.
of that caramelized brown with some ice cream.
Oh,
But regardless,
beautiful.
Brown Apple Betty.
Yep. National Depression Screening Day.
We need to scream for depression.
Absolutely. National Get Funky Day. Play that funky music.
I tend to be a little funky sometimes.
Funky.
As
Ooh.
long as I don't smell funky, I'm
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
This is your day. Here you go, Autumn. This is for you. National Kiss a Wrestler Day.
Ooh, I have a house full of wrestlers.
I know. You're going to just start kissing them all.
I will. I've kissed a couple of them today already.
There we go. National Poetry Day.
I do love a good poet.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, and don't know it.
That's true.
I can make it rhyme any old time. Okay. National Storytelling Day. I love stories.
You do love stories.
I love it. Somebody just sit and tell me stories. My mom and dad both were storytellers, and they would just tell me stories.
I think you have to be a good storyteller, though, for me to sit and listen.
Oh, mine were
Don't
so good.
Don't
If
be
you
a
heard-
monotone storyteller. Give me some inflection in that voice.
If you heard my mom tell the story of Cat Ballou, I'm telling you right now, she took you there.
Probably, I could see that. You have to get that
She
someplace.
took me there.
Yeah.
Yes, she took me.
I like to think I'm a good storyteller.
And my
You are.
dad would always tell stories. They were so good. Like, just it was so good. Trying to think of how to say this. Like Indians, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, like Native Americans
Oh,
and history.
So good,
and
yeah.
I could see that because you come from a family of trappers.
Yes.
Yeah. And I could
And
see
we like
that.
to open our trap.
Well, word.
Trying to keep our powder dry
I-
and our traps closed and our powder dry.
I think I would have liked to have heard some trapping stories from your dad.
Well, if
I
you-
bet he had some.
Well, more so, yeah. But he had some really good stories. He was a good storytelling, and of course, he was very embellished.
Well, but that's
Very
what makes a
added to
good
it.
storyteller.
Yes, and he was.
And I tend
Yes.
to be one.
It's like my shark story.
I love folklore.
Hello.
I love folklore.
yes.
I love fables. I love that kind of stuff.
Me too.
I actually have a book right now I'm reading, and I can't remember the name of it because I just blanked, but it's basically about wild women and stories of wild women and animals, and I can't think of the name. I'm blanking, and
I
so
love
that
that.
sounds really bad. But it has to do with all the folklore that women are told throughout different cultures.
That's cool. That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a cool book.
So national, and I love I love storytelling. So Storytelling Day, Rocky Mountain Oyster Day.
No, thank you.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Ooh, Autumn, this is for you. World Teachers Day. Hats off to
Thank
you.
you.
Yes.
Saluting you, and you're a teacher.
I'm just a pretend teacher.
No, you're
You
not.
are
pretend.
not a pretend teacher. You are a teacher.
And we have a lot of wonderful teachers in our
we
county
do.
schools.
I agree.
We do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So hats off and saluting them, and I tell you what, they
Yeah.
don't get enough. You know what I mean? Of recognition.
They really don't. They put in the work. and that
Every
is something.
day.
They put in the work,
Every day.
and it does not just end at 3.
No.
So.
Oh no. Onward how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I saw something on Facebook. My friend shared it, and it was like sort of like a meme, and it was like, regardless of when you might have had the teacher, you have some like 35 to 40-year-olds out, and you see them out, and you're like, oh hi, Mrs. I'm just gonna use a filler, Smith,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you graduated 10 years ago, you don't have to call me Mrs. Smith anymore.
Right.
And it's like,
Yeah.
no, you'll always be that to me,
Yeah,
you know?
Well,
yeah.
So it's
funny
like that
'cause
imprint.
Mine's
Yeah.
kind of the opposite because a lot of these kids I know outside of school.
Yeah.
And so they're like, do I call you Autumn or do I call you Mrs. Hall? What do I call you? And I'm like, well, you can call me Mrs. Hall while we're here. But
Now,
Yeah.
how would I say that, Mrs. Scott Hall? Remember,
yeah,
I always
know,
say that.
You do. You
I
have
always
to say Mrs.
Scott
Hall.
I like
Now,
to say that.
It's kind of funny because remember when I was in school, I had everybody believing my name was McScottily, and that
What?
kind of blends with Scott Hall.
Scott Hall.
You just be Scottily.
I can't just. I don't think I even like even we were talking about
You
you
really
this
did.
morning.
Yeah,
I didn't
funny
know that.
story. I'll
I was
tell you that
talking to
story.
one of my girls this morning, and I said today's Autumn Scott Hall Day. I mean, like everything's it's always Autumn Scott Hall.
I'm not gonna lie, I got a bill in the mail the other day from a different company, and it had Autumn Scott Hall, and I was like,
See,
darn it, Becky White!
Becky White is just completely. I patented that. I put my
I don't think I've ever even heard you like address her like when you're talking to her without saying her full name.
Yeah,
Like I don't think you just say Autumn. You say it all.
I think I'm obsessed with it.
People are
I think I'm obsessed with it.
I love the name. Yeah, I love to say it all together. Yeah.
When I was in school, actually, and we were talking about different things, I had people believing, we were talking about genealogy and, people coming over and all that. And I had people believing that my name actually was Autumn McScottily. And when we came to America, we dropped the Mick and the Italy and just became Scott. And
wow.
I literally, people did kind of believe me. And I played it for a while. I also had them believing I was related to Willard Scott.
Oh,
I don't even know who that is.
Willard Scott's the one who always announced the 100-year birthdays.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, yeah, that's Uncle Willard.
Wait, Camissa does not know who he is.
No, because she's a young pup.
Camissa.
But yeah, like my whole 8th grade algebra class, it was, I'm related to Willard Scott, and our name used to be McScottily.
Well, I told my group, and they believed me for years that I was the Rebecca Lynn in the song.
Yes.
Rebecca Lynn. Yeah. So, yeah. And then they grew up, they were like, you were not. I was like,
first of all, Mom, you're 30 years older than Brian White.
No, I am not. No, how old is Brian White? Let's check that out. Hang on. But what a memory I was to that man, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't know the song Rebecca Lynn?
No.
Rebecca Lynn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a great song, actually. We used to...
well, then you also have The Gambler, not The Gambler, but the one they talk about. Oh, what's the one also anyway, Rebecca's a lot, so I've told the girls yes.
Yeah.
Look, we're all looking how old is Brian White.
Brian White, okay, maybe you're not older than him. He's only 49.
Okay, see?
He's only 49.
Yeah. That's
And, the older I get, the more I'm like, never mind, that's not old. Like, Nina Carter's song, Strawberry Wine, where she's like, I still remember when 30 was old.
I ain't seen Becky all week. Remember that? That's Tim McGraw.
Yeah.
So see?
That's Kids Down on the Farm.
Yeah, see all the people that have name dropped, that, I'm like Taylor Swift, I have all these, they're writing it about me.
They're writing about me.
Yeah, right?
There we go.
And don't forget it.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, all right, onward ho, enough about that. Let's talk, on the upscale, okay, we know that the finances and all that stuff going on, there's a lot going on in our...
There's a lot going on.
Yes, for sure.
It's a hot mess express.
So I want to find out what's the latest and the greatest, but also I want to talk to you a little bit today about, like for those that are like first-time home buyers, or for those that buy several, the seasoned home buyers, if you will, the ones that buy, and what's tell us a little bit about the different personalities or people that do that, and who are these people?
Well, that's a can of worms.
Okay.
So, yeah, funny enough, they just did a disc training for us because I didn't actually watch it.
And what's that mean?
So, yeah, personality training discs.
Oh, okay.
You're dominant, you're influencer, you're steady, and then you're cautious, and it's just the big personality traits.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
I'm very familiar with disc. I'm very familiar with personalities, so I didn't actually watch the training. I did review the materials. They emailed us, and I'm like, yeah, I know all this. So with your first-time home buyers versus your seasoned home buyers, it really has just to do with their personalities. We have some first-time home buyers that, come in and they have all their stuff together because they're, very cautious person. They've done all their research and they know, and they, and that's...
Or maybe they think they know.
Or they think they know, and that's okay. Regardless, it's always a learning opportunity. Camissa had a customer that came in and has owned a home for 27 years, and we were able to inform him on a bunch of stuff and that he didn't actually know, and, he left thrilled because we're going to be able to save him literally thousands of dollars.
Oh, what a blessing.
Yeah.
I love that.
And at the beginning, he had a rather reserved, kind of like wall up against everything just because of his past experience.
Yeah,
but
and as he was sharing those past experiences with us, we're just sitting there with our jaws open like, oh my, I'm so sorry this is your experience.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't have to be like that, and
like
it won't
this.
be like that, yeah.
Right.
So it really is every person, like, I know this sounds really cliche, but every person's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't get textbook customers, because everybody's situation is an accumulation of their life. Like we're doing one right now. He just finished a bankruptcy. He had a really hard life. He's able to get it back together now, and we're able to help him now buy a home.
Don't you love that?
And he's worked really hard. Like he's put in the work. And so that's always rewarding when we can finish that, because he has put in the work and he's learned. And then we have people that come in and it's like, okay, you're not doing anything for a couple years, so let's sit down now. You've got to do the work. And then we have people that come in and they just don't have anything. They're brand new.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. I'd rather get you there than having to clean something up, you know.
Yeah.
And even people who have multiple homes, like they're just juggling them. And a lot of times we don't get a lot of investors. Like usually they already have their people or they just cash buy. But we do get repeat customers, and some of them are like, I'll just sign whatever, I trust you and I've done this before. And some are like, hey, I've bought 4 houses and this is my 5th, but I don't know anything, so I want you to explain it all because you're willing to do it.
Yeah, or possibly because of the same situation where they've not had the best experience in the past. They're trying to find someone new, and it's like you do kind of have to take the extra time with them, just like you would take with someone new, to explain like, hey, I'm not here to take advantage of you, you know, I'll take my time with you to get you to the point where you're comfortable and confident with what we're doing with you.
Right. And I think the opposite of what you two do is more the common. I think, don't you feel?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that they just want you in and out.
And it's sad they don't explain.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And that's why, like, we've had some people who have gotten a little upset because, you know, maybe we can't just take you in as you walk in, like, you know. And I've gotten to the point I used to just drop what I'm doing if you're walking in, and I'll take care of it, but you know, as you get some experience under your belt and as you do meet with these, you know, these different type of people, it's like, okay, it's going to take me at least an hour, if not longer. And if I'm in the middle of something, trying to work on something for another customer or something, you know, maybe I'm not in the office because we're at a closing, or we're, you know, Camissa,
or preparing stuff for somebody.
You know, last week she was out 2 or 3 times trying to help customers put things together, because you have some customers that they don't understand our apps. They're not tech savvy.
Right.
And right now that is where the world is going. Everything's an app. Everything's a scan to email. Everything's, you know, a digital thing. And so when you get those people who aren't digitally savvy, well, you either have 2 choices. You either tell them, sorry about your luck, figure it out, or you go and you help them. And we err on the side of, we will come and help you. She was gone one time for over half the day trying to help.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, we're not always in our office. That does not mean we are not working.
Yeah.
And so we have really gotten to the point where it's like, listen, if you want an appointment or you want to meet, you need an appointment, because we are doing other things. It's not like we have 10 assistants running around for us.
Right.
So we are out there working. We're not, you know, we're not over at the coffee shop drinking coffee and eating donuts.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just twiddling our thumbs.
Right.
But we're not in the office 9 to 5 every single day.
Sure.
And that was an adjustment that I feel like we had to get used to, because I think there was like a lot of guilt to it, because we were like, oh, there's no one sitting there. But at the same time, in order to keep our production up and keep our loans moving for the customers we do have, we would do the same for those that would come in, you know, on that time too.
Yeah.
And I've talked, and it's like, you know what, you can't just walk into a dentist's office or a doctor's office or an attorney's office and demand to be seen right then and there.
Right.
And so it's kind of been one of those things where it's like, okay, we have to treat this like this is a professional business.
Sure.
Sometimes if you do walk in, we are there and we can.
Yeah.
But the people-pleasing side of me really has trouble being like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you right now.
Right.
Because I don't want to turn you away. But like she said, if I've got a closing in 25 minutes and I've got to get that stuff together, I can't sit and talk to you because I have a prior commitment.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's kind of hard, because when you walk in and you see me at the desk or you see Camissa at the desk, you think we're free.
Yeah.
You know, so we have gotten better about just even explaining that. And, you know, I had somebody that called me yesterday, and I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of something. You know, here are your 3 options.
Yeah.
Which one do you want?
Right.
You know, and they opted to, hey, can I schedule an appointment for tomorrow?
Sure.
And a lot of times it's not, oh, we can't see you for a week. A lot of times it's,
yeah.
hey, you can come back later today or we can meet tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, but I just can't do it right this moment.
Right.
Yeah, we
and-
do put our availability out there,
Yeah.
obviously, so.
Well, I think it's nice though, like if I'm the person sitting in the chair across from you, I like that you're giving me your full attention.
Yes.
And that I'm not on a time clock. Like
Yeah.
you have 10 minutes to get, to get all this out. Like you don't rush through it.
I did feel bad because we had an appointment I forgot was Friday night on the square. And they forgot it was Friday night on the square. And I'm like, guys, you have like 10 minutes before we get kicked off the square.
But that's not normal.
It's not normal, and they were, they
Yeah.
were fine. But I did feel bad because
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I
But we were
forgot.
like, it's really not us this time.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not rushing.
Well, I mean, when you're purchasing, a home, this is your biggest investment,
It
more
is.
than likely. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you want to be able to ask those questions. You want to understand, and you want to know exactly, And okay, so the gentleman that purchased 27 years ago, I mean, you were talking about. Was that something like now? Is it completely changed, like a lot of the things, or
So interesting enough, actually,
we're still saving him money because of
Yeah.
where his rate is over 9%. So even though our
So,
rates
like-
are high, we're
So-
still lowering his.
say that louder for the people in the back to hear?
His rate
was
is over
9.25.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
over 9%.
So anybody that's thinking that that's unheard of, it was heard
and
of.
again, I've
Yeah.
preached this and I've said this and I will continue to say it. The rates that we have right now are where we always should have been.
Mm-hmm.
When I started 18 years ago, rates were 8 to 10%. His mortgage is 27 years old and his rate is over 9. These rates, they seem very high to people. We're in the 7s, we're approaching 8. They seem high to people, and even from our standpoint,
They
awful.
do, yeah.
Like, they're horrible right now.
Yeah, because we look at it through the same lens that everyone else does. It's like we got used to those low rates with those that inflicted the lower payments.
And it hurt. It
Yeah.
does hurt. But at the same time, and like because Camissa doesn't remember rates at 8-9%.
No.
Right.
That's one of the things I keep saying. Hey, yes, it's painful right now because what we have been used to, but this is not detrimental. This is where we always should have been.
Right.
This is a cycle. This is where we're at. It's okay. It's just, again, it's that whiplash where we raised them so fast this year.
Yeah.
And they are still raising so fast
Well, they
this
did
year.
jump. Yeah.
They just jumped again. Like our grant interest rate just jumped to
6.25.
6.25. Well, 2 months ago it was 7.25. So that is a big jump. Actually, last week it was still it's 7.875. Last week it was 7.625. Now they're 7.875.
Oh.
So they did just jump again this week. So it's like that when you see that and you're tight on your ratios and you're looking at it, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that hurts because I did not quote it with this rate. So now I have to go back to the customer and say, hey, your rate increased, here's why.
Yeah.
And now if I'm tight on ratios, guess who's cutting themselves to still make the deal work?
Yeah.
It's me. It's hurting us too.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we are still, I hear other loan officers, I see pipelines, not just in our company, but in other companies. They're like, we're twiddling our thumbs. We don't have anything. We have a wonderful community. We are still closing loans.
Yeah,
we are
absolutely.
still getting purchase agreements.
Sure.
September was a little rough. We had a couple that had to be pushed back to October for not even our own fault, but just it had to be
Timing.
pushed back, timing. But at the end of the day, we are still doing business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
We're not
yeah.
shutting our
Sure.
doors.
Right.
Even if you walk by and the door is shut, it sticks. Just pull harder. But it does.
That's another
stick.
thing. Like
our
people,
door, the heat, it extends the still until a lot of times you'll see us running down the ramp. Yeah, you know we're open.
yeah,
we're
we're
open.
open. That's the thing,
I
like,
love
if
that.
we are in there
I'm
and
gonna
not in the
actually
middle.
next time I come in, I'm gonna act like I can't get the door, but I want to see you run down that
Yeah, we
ramp.
do run down it. And
wanna
my
see the
open
running.
sign, like the lights blew
We're
out
very
because it was so
spastic.
old.
Oh my
So
gosh,
I
I
don't
love
have
that.
an open. I need to get a new open sign so people can see we're
Yeah.
open.
No, I just want to try the
Um,
door. I'm really.
But we are there. We are still closing loans. Camissa has 3 going right now, and three or four going right now. So, I mean, we're still closing loans.
No doubt. Yeah.
People are still buying homes.
Mhm.
I mean,
And they're still being put on the market too. Like, I feel like we have a little bit more of an
we do
inventory.
still have homes being put on the market. I am seeing some of those prices drop a
I'm
little
noticing
bit.
that too. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm seeing sellers saying, okay, we'll take less. We'll, mark it down, price improvement. And I'm going to throw this out here. This is why interest rates went up, to help bring our market back into balance, because the last 3 years, homes have been highly overinflated. We needed rates to go up to bring down the housing, because we are no longer considered a poverty county, which is wonderful,
Right.
but we are now considered chronically economically distressed county. So we do still need.
What a title.
Wow.
Well,
I know.
but we're
Yeah.
no longer in
Talk
poverty.
about a tongue twister.
Yeah. So, like, is that the next level up?
That's the next level
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
That we do have people who are making good money.
Yeah.
In this county.
Yeah.
Some of that is because we've had people that have moved in here that are working in, outside, but it does raise our overall income. So we are no longer even in some of our grants and stuff, we're no longer a targeted county. And that has kind of hurt, because it used to be I didn't care what you made, I could get you the program. Now I can't, because we're no longer targeted. We're no longer a poverty county. Which for us, as far as economics, is great.
Yeah.
We've had some businesses come in. That's great. That's what we don't want to be poor.
Right.
And no one wants to be poor. So, so we do need some of those houses to be more of that, reasonably priced where we're at, and we're seeing that.
Right.
We are seeing that.
Right.
So
when you're talking about getting a loan and you're talking about the rate that you're talking about, do you suggest, Camissa, Autumn, Scott Hall, do you suggest to, like, what about the scale, like when you don't lock in exactly that? What's the advantages of doing that? I know some people
when you don't lock in your rate and you ride it.
And you ride it. Yeah, I know.
It's a gamble. Right now, I'm locking everything I can possibly lock as soon as I can lock it.
Is that because you think they're going to go up?
That's because they are going up and the yield spread is going down.
Okay.
And right now, I was shocked. The one I closed in September, I actually was able to lock at par, which means I didn't pay for the rate, or the borrower didn't pay for the rate. I didn't pay for the rate. Like, we were able to actually, lock it, and that was your rate. And he's the only one I've been able to do that for in months. Everyone right now is at a discount, which means this is the rate I can get you, but it's going to cost us both. So we are actually, and I've told her, we are cutting our spread on that and making less on it, but the borrower is still having to pay some out of their closing costs or out of their loan amount, or like they're still having to pay because we can't par out, because that's just where rates are. And that's not just us, that's everywhere. I've had realtors call me on other deals and they're like, well, they're asking for X amount in closing costs and that seems high. And I'm like, well, they're probably asking for a discount because they can't par out. Like, that's, a year ago that would have been high. Today, that's not high.
Right.
And they're not trying to take advantage. This is where we're all at.
Right.
And sometimes I think after I get those phone calls, well, heck, maybe I should be charging more and not cutting myself.
Yeah.
I never admitted being a great business person. Like, I have a bleeding heart, so it is what it is.
What do a lot of us do in this community,
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen some that don't,
Well,
but it's hard, and that's the thing right now. Everything's at a discount. So right now, if we have a purchase agreement, we're locking things.
well, okay.
I'm locking your rate in
because
as soon as I can. As soon as you sign that paperwork, I'm locking it.
Years
Speaking of
ago,
that, we got a few to lock today.
I do, because,
Lock
well,
it
we
in.
just got signed, like, I
We
can't.
got an alert yesterday to lock it, just
Yes.
based on trends and stuff like that.
It'd be nice not to have an alert to lock one day.
It would be very nice.
I mean,
just to see that little green font, that'd be nice.
And it's funny
Oh, is
because
it
when we get it, it's
red?
not like I see the email and it's like the sirens go off in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it'd be nice just to have a day without the sirens going off in my head. Lock the way, lock. So that's what we're doing. We're locking everything.
all right, speaking of that, I'm going to put a bookmark right there, and we're going to go back to all of that. But Our phones did our thing. The radio station, we had the EAS test yesterday. It was something that I heard everyone. Here's what I heard: much to do about nothing. I just want to say though that I was happy because the station fired all of my EAS, fired the signal, which I was glad. But there were some that were doing different things with their phones. Some were a little bit. I had one that wrapped it up in aluminum foil and put it in the microwave and turned off everything. Yeah,
What?
A lady that did that.
What?
So yeah, so just worried about just worried about
It
it
was
all.
funny
So-
because the hallway was just going off.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
really?
I didn't
Cool.
think about that.
Yeah,
It was fun.
Yeah. Well, they said that it went off for 30 minutes, but it didn't the tone went off for 30 minutes, but your phone was still activated for 30 minutes.
It was funny because not all the phones got it at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they meant over 30 minutes, like it was hitting different phones. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
mine would go off, and then a couple minutes later, I'd hear another one.
Because I thought it
and
was
then
supposed to be at like 220, and I was gonna
Yeah.
put my phone on airplane mode
Yeah.
at 219
Yeah.
to see if I wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Because I was like reading some paranoid
Did you get it?
things. Yeah, and I got it at 218, so I didn't even get to put my phone on airplane mode. It
Yeah.
still came through.
Oh wow. Wow.
There you go.
Very interesting. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
so back to the so that was just I just needed to say that and I think that majority of people received it, and which is good to know that if they need to communicate with us for whatever reason, if there's an emergency.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you.
Like
I
if
don't
I don't even
either.
know why they. I'm sure it's something,
if
but
there
I don't
was-
know how they
if
use
there
it.
was something, like a state of emergency or something
Oh,
big.
you mean like them sending us like the Amber Alerts and things?
Yes, well, like Amber Alerts, like come,
Yeah, they come through.
Yes, but if there was another alert for something that that was maybe different, it works well to communicate to everyone,
Yeah.
And so, Adam, have the best day ever. All right, and yeah,
Go teach
So I
your
just-
little heart out.
Yes,
Teacher's
right.
Day.
Go get those children. That's right, Teacher's Day. So anyway, so I thought that was interesting, and it was interesting to hear how some turned their phone off. So I like to talk to people about like how they, how they feel about it. Some turned their phones off. Some went ahead and listened. Some unplugged everything electrical and wrapped it in aluminum foil and put it in the microwave. So it's
Why
Just
aluminum foil in the microwave?
I don't
That
know,
just
so
sounds
we-
like hazardous.
debunk. Well, they didn't turn it on. The microwave was unplugged.
Okay.
Yes, it's just yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just not
Just
sure that's a
unplugged
good
everything.
idea.
I don't know. I didn't do that, but it was just interesting to hear, different
Yeah.
people feel. And I'm not making fun because I want everybody. It's just like whatever your safety level is or
Yeah.
whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not at all. I thought it was just interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It
It is.
And like you putting yours on airplane mode.
Well,
and
I tried, but I wasn't
but
quick
didn't get
enough.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't
I
quick
think it
enough.
probably would have still gone off, right? Maybe. It's
I don't
interesting.
know. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Now we'll never know.
No, because
We
I
will
wasn't quick
never know
enough.
unless they
But
do
I
it
thought
again.
for sure 220. Okay, I'll do it at 219.
Yeah, yeah.
But they got me because it came at 218.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're the first I'd heard that. I've not heard that it fired earlier.
Yes, because I actually was in a group message because we were talking about it, and I put it in there, and then a friend of mine's husband was like, "Oh, mine just went off too," and then like at 220, or the other two responded and said like, "Not ours" or whatever, and then they were like, "Oh, mine just did," and I was like, all I did was silence it, like I just pressed my side button and it went right off,
Right.
and because I wasn't sure what to even expect, like, is it just gonna keep beeping, like?
Right. That's what
Because I was actually on like a WebEx call, so I was like, well,
Yeah.
everyone on the call though, like it was kind of like you knew something was going on because everyone was distracted all at the same time, and so you could tell like everybody was like, okay, did everybody get their notification? And it was kind of cool.
Well, this was interesting. I thought this was a different take on it. That for those that have like for domestic violence,
I saw that.
where they have like an extra phone that they might not
Yeah.
want others to know about.
Yeah.
It was telling to make sure that you turn it off.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
then I was
because-
seeing that like even if it was off, it might get like even if electronics were off, that they might get the notification
Yeah,
come
they
through.
didn't. No, they
No.
didn't. Yeah. So that's what they were saying, to make sure if you have like an extra phone for maybe safety reasons
Yeah.
or something like that, then you might want to go ahead and turn it off
Right.
or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's good and thoughtful because
thought that
you
was-
do want those safety measures to be in place.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought that was. I hadn't thought about that.
I hadn't either, and
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm, of course, it makes sense.
Yes.
So very
Especially
interesting.
because October kind of has the domestic violence month with it, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Awareness, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, and I think especially like in Camissa, when you start getting into the holidays and stuff,
Mhm.
a lot of things, get tense or whatever.
Yes.
So I think that's probably, yeah. So I thought that was very interesting. But I wonder on because they sent the tone out right at. I mean, for my radio station, it was like spot on. Okay.
Mhm.
So I wonder, like, when Autumn's talking about, like, some people got it different, I wonder because, like, if it's, like, their cell service. Or, like,
Could be
I
like
wonder,
the provider.
The provider, or
Yeah.
how, like, because you think about, she was at school,
Mhm.
and, a lot of times it's hard to get service in some areas,
Right.
So I wonder, like, I think it would have all fired at the same time. I think just maybe people received it if she's talking about
Yeah.
a little different.
Could be.
That makes
yeah.
sense.
Well, and it also could just be like the influx of like, obviously the data going out.
Yeah.
It could have just been how it was reached, and I guess more so like if it's flooding all of those phones, some of them might have gotten a little bit quicker just because it's still trying to funnel all the other notifications. I don't know how that would work, but
well, like when you go to a concert, like sometimes like everybody's on their phones.
yeah, so you
that
don't
can't
have
get
good
reception,
service. Yeah.
And you can't get service, but then there'll be somebody that will, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
get service, and it's like, who are you?
Are you the favorite child?
Yeah, really, exactly. Well, because like at Louder Than Life, it was like crazy how many people were there, and so I was trying to go live, and my phone was like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
We're not doing this today. I could not.
Yeah,
get,
you
I
like
could
want
not
to
get
start
service.
tapping people. And could you get off your phone? I'm trying to
Yes,
do
I'm
my
trying
business
to get service here. I
So
wanna-
thank you.
Yeah, so it was
Get
a
off
little,
your Snapchat.
little difficult. Yes. So then I just tried the video, but then by the time you try to upload a video, it takes forever.
Right.
On your
Right.
phone. So it was a little degree of difficulty, but that's the way the big ball bounces. So
Mhm.
anyway, but I thought it was interesting, and I think it was interesting how. I guess it could be, if it's used in the right way, it's a great factor to if they need, should there be an emergency, that everybody needs to be be alerted.
Yeah.
So that's.
And I think it's neat that we do have that capability of communication, as long as it's utilized correctly.
Utilized correctly, just
Yeah.
like everything.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's used correctly.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to know, and to do test every so often to make sure that everything, like I know on my end as a station, you do them. You perform them regularly to make sure that they're going through,
Right.
and that they're prepared. That you're prepared, and so I think it's always good to have that.
Yes,
for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. But okay, so now we're going to go back. We took that bookmark. Now I'm going to take the bookmark out and go back. Camissa, going back on some of the different rates and stuff, that's interesting to hear, because I'm going to go back. I know this has been years ago, but like there was a gentleman that used to own different homes, like, and he would rent them out, but he always liked the sliding scale. But now, like with it talking about going up, it's a good thing not to do that sliding scale.
What do you mean sliding
The
scale?
sliding scale on the interest rates. Like some would do some would lock them in years ago, and then some would take.
So you're saying like the adjustable rates?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe
so
I'm using not the right term. Sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. So adjustable rates are normally just referred to as ARMs, which stands for adjustable rate mortgages. But essentially what it is the rate is not fixed, like you said. So normally, I don't think since I've started working with her, I don't think we've done an ARM in our office, just because of where rates have been.
Right.
Normally you would see ARMs more so on the lower side of things, just because they are kind of erring on the side of caution. That's not to say that you cannot do an ARM right now, because if rates do go down, then your rate adjusts. There is a protection in place where they do put a cap on it
of
a certain percentage,
okay.
yeah. So that, say you do an adjustable rate at X percent, they'll say it can only go up to this percent,
Okay.
so that it's not like a total shock and putting you in a financial burden. But they are still, I guess the best way to say it is, a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
So, the investors would probably be the prime market for that, just because, they do have a little bit more flexibility with, maybe what their income, revenue, profit is on their properties. But that would probably be the prime market for an ARM. I would say with our community, we really don't see many of those,
Right.
just because I don't know if it might be just since I've been in it that where rates are, they either really want the rate when it was really low,
Yeah.
and they were like, I don't want to take a chance of it going up,
Right. Right.
or that maybe whenever it raised a little bit, they were like, well, I don't want it to raise more, so I'm just going to lock it in here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just maybe the timing of when I've been in it, but I've not saw or have not done an ARM personally.
Okay.
I know Autumn has done ARMs in the past, but
I don't think they're doing them as much now. I think,
Yeah.
I think years ago they did them a little bit more.
yeah.
Maybe because I remember him talking that he always felt like he came out ahead
Mhm.
when he would do that, because when they would drop lower, then that would really be good for him.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting.
There are definitely pros and cons to it, just like any situation. So
Yeah.
if you have a fixed rate and the rate drops, if the rate drops and you want that lower rate, then you would have to refinance. So
Yeah.
you would have, financial costs again.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a pro to it, is if the rates do drop, then you could, utilize that to your advantage if you were on an ARM. But then, of course, there are cons to it if they were to raise or, so
Yeah.
one product might be great for someone that might not work at all for someone else.
Right.
So,
It's interesting though, like that. I mean, like I don't like the. Like we don't know all that, and that's
Mhm.
cool that we can talk to a professional, you and Autumn.
yeah.
To get this information, because it's sometimes you hear like no two individuals are the same that come through your door,
Oh, yeah, no.
and so like someone might say, oh well, this worked for so and so, but it might not work for them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So it's nice to have a professional like
Mhm.
like you guys to help and to make sure that what works best for that person.
Yes, and ARMs are also based on like different loan terms. So like
Okay.
loan, like the terms, like your months, years, etc. of your loan. So someone who maybe is an investor that plans to like flip a property, rent it out, pay it off very soon so that they could invest in another property. A 15-year loan term might be more appealing to them as an ARM than maybe somebody who just wants, okay, I can expect to pay this payment. I can pay extra on my principal each month, but I just know at the end of the day, I'm responsible for this payment each month.
Right.
And so maybe if they're a little bit more conservative, that's more appealing to them. But they do have quite a few different variances. And that's not to say that they're not fit for someone who isn't an investor. It's just, I guess, more what type of apple are you looking for?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Camissa, I think I love the way you guys take time for people, and I can't encourage people enough that if you're thinking about buying a home or doing something with your home or a mortgage or buying maybe some rental property or whatever you want to do, come see Camissa or Autumn Scott Home. And you guys, I love the way you explain things and take time with people, and I cannot emphasize that enough, how much that is so valuable.
Yeah, we definitely do try. We would want someone to do that for us or our loved ones.
And for some reason, if the loan can't go through, I love the way you guys take time.
Sometimes we take more time.
No, I mean,
We
but
don't give up.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get it if you but you'll also work with the person to tell them what they need to do to get where they need to be.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you maybe clear
We
up
had a really
somebody's
good
credit.
testimony to that just here recently that just closed. Was it 2 days ago, I believe? It was a really good testimony to it because we were sitting there and the borrower was just like, hey, I realized that maybe throughout the process I felt a little tense with you. It was never against you, because in hindsight, maybe my financials were not in the best situation, but you never just gave up on me. You and your manager both took more than enough time with me, and I feel like coming out of this, even though I feel like my mortgage is more than I was originally anticipating, I'm in such a better financial position because of the time that you took, not even just with my mortgage, but helping me look at things from a different perspective, just as a whole.
Right. Yeah.
And, well, with his financials and different things. So.
Doesn't that mean a lot to you?
Oh yeah, because to be honest, walking into the closing, there were situations leading up to it that we would maybe say something to him and we weren't necessarily sure how he perceived it.
Yeah.
So to hear that he had kind of done some retrospect on it and put it into perspective, I guess, and really took what we told him and was putting it into play. That meant a lot, and it really meant something that he was like, I've taken the time to notice what you've done, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, at the end, even if we don't do the loan, we just want to help.
Well, sure.
So,
but that's a blessing, and that's part of it, a huge part of our community. And also, I think that's, you know, what you're saying right there is, and taking that time and letting, I mean, you know, we're not experts in what you do. You guys are the experts, and we appreciate you taking time and explaining things and helping. You know, sometimes, you know, this is not something that, you know, you kind of have to learn this as you get to be, you know, older. You know, you don't always know everything, or I don't.
Well, and sometimes I think it's that people are in a situation where they, you know, if we're telling them that they might need to fix things or, you know, hey, we need to do this or that, then it's almost like they kind of feel embarrassed, and it's like there's no reason to be embarrassed at all. Like, we are here to help. There's no judgment. And so I think there were a few times it was like that got the best of him, and he was just like, well, never mind, maybe I just can't buy a house. And it's like, no, you can. And, you know, you will, and we'll help you. And so he did. You know, he made it to the closing table. And that's what, you know, they're middle-aged people. They were renting. They'd been at the same place for over a decade. Like, so it was special. Because they might not have ever been homeowners if we didn't kind of pull them out of their comfort zone and give them what they really wanted, because they weren't sure if they could make it happen.
Okay, what a beautiful story you just told me.
Well, good.
You just did a beautiful
it's the truth.
story. I know.
And you love stories.
I know. I know. I'm sitting here. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Well, I like it because if someone wants if someone wants to purchase a home, I want them to be able to. And I know that's what you guys. That's your goal.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's what made me just completely crazy about you guys.
Yeah.
Because I love helping people get where they want to be.
Yes.
You know, especially when you don't know that road necessarily to go.
Right.
There's several
it's just as fun to hold someone's hand down the road as it is to skip with them if it's not their first rodeo. So.
Look at you. Right there. Yeah, that needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Teas and tumblers.
There we go. Yay, there you go. Very apropos.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm sure.
So let's go ahead and thank the rest of our coffee club sponsors.
For sure.
Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Teas and Tumblers, Fox Purley Wealth Management, Fantastic Sam's, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, and Dr. Mindy Gunn, and Leader One Financial, NMLS 12007, and we are an equal housing lender.
Love that. Thank you so much, Camissa. And thank you guys for sponsoring Leader One. You guys are rock stars there on the square. Come see.
Warning. This program may be found offensive by pencil-pushing, bean-counting, research-loving program directors and radio consultant gurus. Welcome to the Rick and Bubba Experience.
The sun won't set, the sun won't rise, but it seems like I'm barely getting by with a crushing weight that I keep piling on.
6 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us.
You know what, alone, I just can't
Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Adler here today. And we welcome back for a brand new hour. There's Mr. Bill Bubba Bussey. Hey, Bubba. Hey, buddy.
Hello. Check 1, 2. Hello. Glad to be here, and thank all of you for being part of the Rick and Bubba Experience.
All right. So we got other things that we'll talk about today, but I do want to kind of update you on one. I'm kind of taking care of my main emails that are going on. I'm gonna ask you to, and I think it's in show notes already. If not, it's gonna be there because I know Helms is working on location today, but he said he will get this in show notes today. So we were asked on the air last week, and then I'm getting a good bit of emails about it. And today I'm looking, people are putting stuff on social media about it too, and that is this ongoing thing with one of our country's largest churches. I think 40,000 members, 28 years, that Andy Stanley and the church. What is his church called? What is his church called? I forget what it's called. Northport, Northridge, North something. But anyway,
Richmond, north of Richmond.
And there's all kinds of campuses everywhere and all that. So Andy has been at times a controversial character, and I think at times he has been unfairly attacked. And there's been times when people have said he said things that if you go back and look at the record, he really didn't say, or it was taken out of context. And I acknowledge all that. However, this latest drift, and it's not new, it's been going on with Andy for about 8 years, on the topic of the sin of homosexuality, the LGBTQ, and the church's approach to that, and marriage, and so it all kind of came to a head this past weekend when the Unconditional conference was held, hosted by Andy Stanley. So I'm not going to revisit all of that because we talked about it, and I want to be as informed as possible. The reason why I'm giving an update today, just so you can understand, is after the conference took place, Andy Stanley did a message on Sunday morning where he tried to come and kind of clarify and set the record straight with his church, with his congregation. And he said some things that had some people going, "Oh, okay, it's all still good," and he's clarifying. But I'm getting a lot of emails from people say, "Well, my kids go to this church and have been there at one of the campuses," or "Hey, you're misunderstanding this." So there's a podcast that just came out. It came out on the 2nd of October this week. Dr. Michael Brown and his show, which I'm familiar with, but it's the latest episode called The Line of Fire. I will say, and I don't know everything about Dr. Michael Brown. I'm only going to judge how he handled this. Michael Brown, I think, is fair and as balanced a report on this that I have found. Now, I know that Al Mohler's come out with some articles, and I read those, and those are good too. So, but what I think makes Michael Brown a great resource for those of you that may have family that go to these churches, or you may be part of the church and you're trying to figure out where Andy's shepherding you or your family. He's been conversing with Andy for 8 years, okay, and he has stepped up and defended Andy when he has been unfairly attacked. His approach is always, now he taught me a lesson, listen to this too, that helped me, because I've always struggled with Matthew 18 and how we approach that as talk show hosts. And Matthew 18 says if you have a problem with someone in the church, you go to them privately, and then if that problem can't be resolved, you bring 2 or 3 other people in the church and you discuss it, and then if it can't be resolved, you take it to church leadership, and then if that can't be resolved, you bring it before the whole church. And there's steps we're supposed to take, and I've always struggled with, well, how am I supposed to take those steps with people that I don't know and people that I don't know how to contact, but yet they have made public statements? Well, Dr. Michael Brown says when someone makes a public statement, then we have the right to comment on it. Now, if there's something you heard in private, then yes, you follow Matthew 18 the way it's set up. But if somebody goes out and declares to the world a public statement, you are not in sin as a follower of Christ to say, I take issue with that, or I disagree with that, and do that publicly. And that was something that I had been always kind of, how are we supposed to handle that? So all this is on the record. But what he has done is he has reached out to Andy Stanley, and he said, and Andy has reached back and forth to me. He lays out all the emails that they've had. He says, and Andy knows everything I'm going to talk about in this podcast. He is fully aware of it. I've even asked him, do you want me to use excerpts from your message Sunday or not? He said he was never told not to, so he uses those so we can hear exactly what Andy Stanley said. And he walks you down the road of here are the things that Andy Stanley maybe have been unfairly attacked about or questioned. But then there's things that we get to that Andy Stanley, what he's saying and doing, that really should concern us. And he's made that very clear. He's gone as far as to say to Andy, as my brother in Christ, you need to repent of this statement and this statement. And he lays out what all that is, and he'll tell you where he'll even tell you what Andy's, in my personal opinion, his opinion and others, flawed strategy is in all this. And I think he's headed the wrong direction with this, and he'll make that very clear. So if you're looking for, it's an hour long, it's extremely comprehensive, it will really help you make your own decisions about this, but you'll be able to make it with a tremendous amount of information and reliable,
how you need to make them.
Yeah, and so for those of you that are kind of trying to figure this out, and you're kind of like me, you know some of it, but you don't know all of it. It's in show notes today, and I think Dr. Michael Brown did a magnificent job with it. It's not an attack piece, but it's also not a fluff piece of how Darius questioned Andy Stanley. It's the way it's supposed to be done. So there it is.
And that was this past week.
Yeah, it came out on October the 2nd, and then the Andy Stanley message to his church was Sunday. The conference was the Friday and Saturday before this past weekend. And three of the speakers that were brought into that, if it was held especially at the church, that alone should really, really bother you. Because their message is crystal clear. And another thing, really, honestly, and it's something we kind of need to understand, we keep saying something that scripturally doesn't seem to stand up when the word unconditional is used. There are conditions for God's approval. It's not unconditional. He actually says if we don't repent, which that's a condition. Will you redeem me, Lord, if you repent? So what if I don't repent? No, I won't. We throw around this word unconditional about God sometimes. I'm not sure we throw it around correctly. Can all be redeemed? And I know some people don't believe that. I believe yes, and I believe the Bible teaches that. But it's not universalism. God has not forgiven everybody just cause. Jesus himself said, repent or perish. And when they cried out to Peter at Pentecost, what are we supposed to do? Peter didn't say, it's good. God takes care of it. He's so gracious and merciful. He's just going to forgive everybody. Peter says, repent. First thing he said. So this unconditional thing that you can just keep on living in something that God calls sin and don't worry about it. He loves you right where you are. That's not biblically accurate. Now he